Mario Atencio, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
So, can you describe the area where your family has an allotment or lands in northwestern New Mexico?
Yes, my family, first off, I'm Navajo. My family is from Counselors, New Mexico.
How has that landscape and your experience and your family's experience been impacted by oil and gas drilling, especially in like the last decade or so?
Yeah, it's highly impactful. In February 2019, the oil companies, through technical errors, spilled about 1,000 barrels, which is about over 50,000 gallons of toxic wastewater and oil onto our lands. And the subsequent lab analysis says that the aquifer has been contaminated, the groundwater, and that's pretty infuriating. My family, we were never notified by anybody. A researcher who works in the region says this big old spill happened. Like, really? Where?
Mm-hmm.
And then our group, the Greater Chaco, went out there, and they went to actually where my dad's land is, and they for a mile down the wash into the Escovado Wash, which flows into Chaco Canyon. That tributary wash, all that oil and toxic waste dumped in there.
Yeah, and so I think a few days after that spill, there was also an explosion and a fire at another well nearby. Can you tell me about that?
Even now, we don't know. There's been no real reports, only through a reporter years later, where we even made aware of another explosion. My family, but my uncle, he heard it sound like dynamite, he said.
Mm-hmm.
And I only knew that after the reporter did some investigative reporting on what happened out there.
What are some of the health impacts that you see or hear about from people having to live so close to these like increasingly industrialized landscapes?
What we see is in our health impact analysis, there was a survey done. 80% of people are experiencing headaches, body aches, like rashes. One anecdotal story is that a local leader for Counselors community, the chapter community, he's a bus driver for the Head Start for the little ones. And the story he told in a public meeting was that all of a sudden he looked and he saw that all the young kids were all using inhalers to like alleviate asthma. And that said he scared him. And around the Liebrook Elementary School, not Head Start, but elementary school bus driver, around it, there's 14 wells that surround the Liebrook Elementary School. So that's a story we're very much very focused on, and like those anecdotal stories. But we did an analysis and a survey to the community, and there is significant impacts, symptoms of exposure to certain chemicals.
Dene Care and other organizations have been trying to do something about the increased oil and gas drilling for over a decade. I know. Has there been any sort of progress in working with the federal government or companies to sort of rein in some of that development or make it safer or cleaner?
Yes. The NetCare, who I work for as the Greater Chaco Energy Organizer, is centering environmental justice. So we've been engaging in the federal process to look at regional resource management plans and to say, hey, our communities are identified in those plans as environmental justice communities. where is the environmental justice analysis, and how are you going to use those guidance, the final guidance on environmental justice? How are you using that to engage our communities? When and where are you going to start talking about the public health impacts of oil and gas drilling? We've had a citizen science health impact analysis done through a CDC protocol, and there is significant cultural and public health impacts happening out there. And what we are doing is to center that discussion. Anywhere we can is to not talk about money, but talk about clean air and clean water and protection of the sacred. How is the government, how is it the people that are accountable to the communities, how are they engaging? And so I think that's what we're doing in development. I mean, that's secondary, but we're trying to be the main advocates for the most vulnerable of peoples, which is the very young and the very old.
So the state has, moved forward with certain types of regulations and conversations, and the Biden administration has certainly talked about the importance of that area and protecting that area. Do you see, either on a state level or federal level, do you see any action toward improvements yet or at all?
To be truthful, it's status quo still. Biden says, they promised to stop oil and gas drilling on public lands, but federal court cases have ruled against the government. We're asking for some basic level of forbearance, of saying this is part of executive order landscape area. Can you please stop permitting leases out there? The local federal agency just keeps allowing permits to go through. So that's hard. That's really hard to swallow. But the government is starting an Honoring Chaco initiative, and it's supposed to be a new process, and it's supposed to engage a lot of the pertinent stakeholders. And what we're trying to say and focus environmental justice in these discussions, because creating more lines on a map and saying this is a safe zone where no more permits and go ahead dump it on these communities, that's inadvertently or creating environmental racism, saying environmental injustice, saying go ahead dump it on the Navajos that live at mile 11. Mm-hmm. Through the last administration, there's been a whole incredible revolution on oil and gas. United States was almost laughable that it was going to be the world's largest producer of oil. Now it is. And the state is in love with the oil money. So there's threats everywhere. And people want, I don't know, state government, tribal government, they all see the money and they all want a piece of the pie. And we get overrun by that.
What do you wish that all New Mexicans better understood about the choices that we make and how they affect communities?
Nuevo Mexicanos, they can no longer feign ignorance when oil and gas is causing big destruction to the landscape, to the land, the air, the water, the sacred. It behooves New Mexicans to say, hey, we need to do something about this, and the power is in our local communities to protect the water. Reading through the great forest fires, the heritage, herenceria of the people. It's not just the heritage, but it's the living whole landscape. As you see, it's very incredible. That is New Mexico. And the peoples have to talk with their local leaders and their advocates to say, we need to really rethink how our whole economy is based. And there's moves and there's political initiatives out there to do that. And so the people have to, look at and see what they really value. They want to. Do they value the landscape? Do they value culture? Do they value being, value humanness, or do we just value money? And I think that's a big. I think New Mexicans really need to consider that question deeply.
Well, Mario Atencio, thank you for talking with me today.
Thank you.